So the United Nations has painted a bleak picture of food insecurity because of climate change. Speaking at the COP27 summit, which is underway in Egypt, the United Nations said that the situation is likely to get worse if nothing is done. Well, here in South Africa, Absa is hosting the Empowa-Entrepreneurs Summit in Orange Farm. It's in support of young minds in the agriculture space. Let's speak now to Dr. Langa Simela, who's the Business Development Manager at Absa Agribusiness. A very good afternoon to you, Doctor. Thankful for your time today. And I guess there's no overstating the importance of growing more food given the situation globally.
Good afternoon, Tembegile, and thank you very much for inviting us over. Certainly, I mean, the world population is growing. We heard recently that we've hit the 8 billion mark, and in a short space of time, we'll probably get to 9 billion. So with the growth in population, there's also a growth in the demand for food. And the other thing is we have a lot of people that are sitting with a resource agricultural land that they could utilize and are not optimally utilizing it. So that's part of why we're intervening in this township entrepreneurship, or rather entrepreneurship in general, to assist those youth particularly that have access to these resources, want to use them, but probably don't understand how can they optimally utilize the resource that they have at their disposal. Why
young people specifically? Because growing up, farming, for instance, was seen as a more of a, shall we say, more mature person's business, but you're looking at young people and not necessarily people who own hectares and hectares of land.
Yes. So if you look at the way the summit that we'll be holding on the 22nd to the 23rd, it's at the Orange Farm. And that's a peri-urban area. So youth in peri-urban areas hardly get access to information on what they need to do to move on with life. And that's where we end up with high unemployment rates and so on out of those youth. So that's why we are intervening there, because they are sitting on land which they can use for, they probably are using it, at least some of them, for small production, gardens, poultry, and so on. But what we need to do then is say, how do you optimally use it and how do you grow your enterprise to a point? Obviously, some of them will grow within the sector, but what happens as well with agriculture, particularly rural agriculture, people start there as a main source of income, but as they progress, then they progress to other sectors. But the point of the matter is we have this youth with a high unemployment rate in South Africa, sitting with the resource that they need to actually bring into productivity for their own benefit and also for the benefit of the communities around them. So we need to support them to be able to do that. Right. And if I may spell out how we support them.
Let's get into that in a moment, but I wanted to talk about something else that you were just alluding to now. I mean, we talk about growing vegetables, farming, but the agri-space goes beyond that when you look at the broader value chain, does it not?
Yes, certainly. The agri-space is much, much broader than that. I mean, normally the thinking starts with the primary production, but there's a whole value chain that supports the primary production. You look at the input suppliers like your fertilizers, agrochemicals. You look at your mechanization that you need to do, the operations that you do on the land, the production itself, the logistics of moving your products, access to market. And one of the growing things, obviously, is just data management around agriculture. You were talking about climate change. And you need to understand exactly what's happening with your climate around you, how to adjust to it. And there's also the data around managing what the consumer needs. You need to prove that you are complying with consumer needs. And there's a whole lot of data management around that. So there's a big data science, again, in agribusiness. So really, the whole value chain offers a whole lot of opportunities that we need to unpack to our youth, open up their minds to it and see how they can access it.
Just on your interventions then, how do we, now that you've convened a summit, make sure that it's not just an idea or a gathering where people are handed leaflets, given a few words that are meant to inspire, but when you check in 6-12 months later, nothing has actually moved on the ground?
Okay. So we have 3 pillars to our enterprise development. One is capacity building. So we link them to training, mentorship, and business coaching opportunities that will help them to do what they're doing better. And then access to markets. With access to markets, we link them to your corporates and other big off-takers who can actually buy their products off them. Normally, in an enterprise like that, in small communities, they will start off, they probably have enough to supply the community. But as they expand, they need much bigger markets than their local community offers. So that's why we'll then bring in big corporates that they can network with and establish market opportunities. So that's also the access to market opportunity that I'm talking about. But most importantly, and to your point, that how do we intervene and make sure that a year down the line they're still going? It's the networking opportunity. Obviously, on the 1 or 2 days that will be there, they can only just get information. But what they need to do is to actually follow up with the people that they link up to and make sure that they take advantage of those opportunities that are offered to them. There'll be various master classes offered by different people. So they need to really just link up to those people and follow up so that they take advantage of those opportunities. As Absa ourselves, we are a financial institution, so we talk about access to finance. And really our focus there will be to share with them what our strategy is in financing agribusiness. But most importantly, how do they prepare themselves to access finance? A lot of enterprises at that level, I think most of them are generally micro enterprises and will generally not use bank loans to grow their enterprises at that stage. But at some point they would need to. And what most people don't realize is for you to prepare yourself to that growth point where you actually need bank finance, you need to start right at the beginning, keep proper records, keep proper financial records, and do the right thing so that by the time you go to a financial institution, you're saying, here, I'm a reliable business person who's been making profits. I need more money to expand my business and make more profits. So that's the sort of message that we'd like to share with them.
Dr. Langa Simela, good to have your time. Thank you.